Hello students, how are you all? I hope all of you are safe at your house. So now today's topic will be of the chemistry, that is the materials, metals and non-metals. Today we are going to discuss in detail about the metals and the non-metals. Now students, you are familiar with the number of the materials which you see in your daily life. These materials are somewhat made up of like the iron, that is the iron nail, aluminium utensils, copper utensils. You are familiar about these materials. Okay, so these things are made up of some types of the materials. And now do you know that these materials can be classified into two types, that is the metals and the non-metals. Now the next question arises, how you differ, that means how can you differentiate between the metals and the non-metals. So now the metals and the non-metals are different from each other on the basis of their physical properties and on the basis of their chemical properties. So today in this topic we will discuss in detail about some of the physical properties of the metals and the chemical properties of the metals and the non-metals both. Okay, so that you will be able to differentiate between the metals and the non-metals. Now students, let us discuss about the physical properties of the metals one by one. So now, have you ever seen a blacksmith beating an iron piece or an article made up of the iron like a spade or a shovel or an axe? You will see that the shape of the iron nail and the aluminium wire changed on beating. If they were beaten harder, these can be changed into the sheets also. You might be also familiar with the silver foil used for decorating sweets. You must also be familiar with the aluminium foil. Yes, when you see the lunch boxes, your food items are wrapped in the aluminium foil. So these aluminium are beaten hardly into the sheets. So these are the properties of the metals by which they can be beaten into thin sheets, is called the malleability. This is the characteristics properties of the metal, that all the metals can be beaten harder into the thin sheets. Now after that, have you seen the electric wires, or have you seen inside of the electric wires? You will see these electric wires are made up of the copper or the aluminium. So that means why these are made up of this material? Because they are the good conductor of the heat and electricity. So conductivity, next property is the conductivity. It is that property of the metals which allows the current and heat to pass through them easily. So that's why the electric wires are made up of the metals. For example, if we take the metals like the iron rod, you will see that the immersion rod which you use in the winters for heating of the water. So metals like the iron rod, nail, copper wire, these are the good conductors of electricity. Now students, let us discuss the other properties of the metal. The ductility. What is the ductility? It is the property of the metals which allow them to be drawn into thin wires. For example, you can take the metals, as we discussed in the last slide, that the metals like the aluminium and the copper, they can be beaten and can be drawn into thin wires. Why the wires are made up of the aluminium and the copper? We know that the metals like the aluminium and the copper they are the good conductor of electricity also. So that's why the most of the electric wires are made up of these materials. And these materials the copper and the aluminium are used in the electric connection, as they are the ductile metals. Now, have you ever wondered why the ringing bells, the bells which are made up of the metals, why Because it is the property of the metals, they produce the ringing sounds. Yes, when they produce the ringing sound when they hit hard on the floor. So that's why the metals are used in making the bells. So it is the property of the metals which produces the ringing sounds on the hitting. Ringing property of the metal depends on the temperature and the density also, and this property is known as the sonorous. Okay, now next property is the lustrous. What is that? It is the property of the metals which make them shine. Yes, as you see, your mother are wearing the necklaces and the jewelries of the gold and the silver because they have the particular shine in them, and their structures are capable of reflecting the incident light also. So the metals like the gold, silver, copper and the platinum, these are the having the lustrous property. That means they are shine. Okay, so this is about the lustrous property. Now student, despite from being the various physical properties of the metals like the malleability, ductility, good conductor of heat and electricity, yet there are some exceptions in the metals. As you know that the metals like the potassium and the sodium, they are very soft in nature and they can be easily cut with the knife. Second exception in the metal is the mercury is also considered to be as the metal, but the mercury is found at the liquid state in the room temperature. Despite from being a metal, it is found in the liquid state, and the potassium and the sodium, they are soft in nature and can be easily cut with the knife. Now students, so far we have discussed about the metals and its the various physical properties. Now let us discuss something about the non-metal and their physical properties. Non-metals are generally opposite of the metals. So these are the materials which do not possesses any characteristics or any of the qualities of the metals. So they are termed as the non-metal. For example, if you will take the materials like the coal and the sulfur, they are very soft and dull in appearance. They break down into the powdery mass on tapping with the hammer. They are non-sonorous, they are poor conductors of the heat and electricity. Now, the non-metals are generally brittle and they cannot be beaten into sheets or they cannot be changed into the wires. In other words, if we will say that the non-metals are the non-malleable and they are non-ductile. For example, if you will take the sulfur and the phosphorus, these are the non-metals and they are in the form of the powder and they cannot be beaten further. So that means they cannot be changed into the any of these shapes. Poor conductors of heat and electricity, they are generally bad conductors of heat and electricity. Now, as like the metals make the sonorous sound, non-metals are not capable of making any kind of the sound when they hit hard. So they are the non-sonorous. For example, the phosphorus. Phosphorus, as we know that it is already in the powder form, so how it can make the ringing sound? They are very dull, as I told you, they are in the powder form, they are very dull, so they are the non-lustrous also. The non-metals which are in the form of the powder or in the gas form, they cannot be polished, they are not shiny and they do not have any lustrous. So these are the non-lustrous non-metals. Non-metals are generally soft because due to their non-ductility and their non-malleability properties. Non-metals are not strong at all. Now students, let us discuss some of the chemical properties of the metals and the non-metals. When the metals reacts with the oxygen, that means how the metals are reacting with the oxygen. When metals reacts with the oxygen, they form the metallic oxide. For example, if we react the copper with the oxygen, it will form the copper oxide. Next example is the rusting of the iron. When the iron is reacting with the oxygen and some few water droplets, because there is some water is presence in the atmosphere, so it will form the iron oxides. In general, if we test these two solutions with the help of the litmus paper, it will turn the red litmus paper into the blue. So that indicates that the metallic oxides are generally basic in nature. So when the metals, in general we will say, when metals react with the oxygen, they form the metallic oxide, and basically these metallic oxides are basic in nature. Now let us see how the oxygen is reacting with the non-metals. So students, with the non-metals also, when the oxygen is reacted with the non-metals, they also form the non-metallic oxide, and these non-metal oxides are the acidic in the nature. Yes, when the metals are reacting with the oxygen, they are basic, and when the non-metals reacts with the oxygen, they are acidic in nature. It will turn the blue litmus paper to the red. For example, let us take a non-metal, that is the carbon. When the carbon is reacting with the oxygen, we will get the carbon dioxide, which is an acidic oxide. Okay, now let us take another example, that is the sulfur. When the sulfur reacts with the oxygen, we get the sulfur dioxide. And the sulfur dioxides, when reacts with the water, it gives us the sulfurous acid, which turns the blue litmus paper to the red. So the metals are the metallic oxides are basic in nature, and non-metals are acidic in nature, and both of them, they form the oxides. Now students, let us see how the metals and the non-metals are reacting with the water separately. The first one is the metal, how the metals reacts with the water. In the metals, few of the metals react with the water very vigorously, and few of the metals react with water very slow. For example, if we say that the sodium metal is very reactive, it generally reacts vigorously with the oxygen and the water with the evolution of the lot of heat. So it is therefore the sodium is kept under the kerosene. You know that the sodium reacts vigorously with the water, while there are some other metals which do not so. For example, the iron. The iron reacts with the water very slowly. Now, what about the non-metals? Non-metals, they do not react with the water, though they may be very reactive in the air. For example, some of the non-metals, these are stored in the water. Why so? Because if we take a non-metal, suppose the phosphorus we have taken, it is a very reactive non-metal, and it catches the fire very easily if it is left exposed to the air. So to prevent the contact of the phosphorus with the atmospheric oxygen, it is stored under the water, or it is stored in the water. Now students, let us find out how the metals and the non-metals behave with the acid. If we will see that the non-metals generally do not react with the acids. Yes, the non-metals do not show any reaction with the acids, while the metals react with the acids and they produce the hydrogen gas that burns with a pop sound. You can find out this pop sound by bringing the matchstick to the mouth of the test tube, and you can test it while the metal, when reacting with the acids, whether they produce the hydrogen gas or not. The popping sound indicates that the hydrogen gas is produced. One exception is there, that the copper, despite of being a metal, it doesn't react with the dilute hydrochloric acid even on the heating, but it reacts with the sulfuric acid. Now students, let us discuss how the metals and non-metals reacts with the bases. When the metals react with the bases, it forms the salts and the hydrogen gas. For example, if we take the sodium hydroxide and the aluminium metal, when these two are reacting with each other, it forms the salt, that is the sodium aluminate, and the hydrogen gas is evolved. Okay, so basically in general we will say when the metals reacts with the base, it forms the salt and a hydrogen gas. When the non-metals reacts with the bases, that means it is a very complex, but some of the non-metals in general we can say that the non-metals react with the bases, but no hydrogen gas is produced in that case. Okay, so this is how these are the chemical properties of the metals and the non-metals with the few exceptions. Now students, let us discuss about the displacement reaction here. In the displacement reaction, there is one simple rule which has to be followed. And the rule is that a more reactive metal can replace a less reactive metal. But a less reactive metal cannot replace a more reactive metal. Here, if you will see in the example that there is a reaction is being there between the copper sulfate and the zinc metal. Now here the zinc is being more reactive than the copper. It will replace the copper from its solution of the copper sulfate, and in the product it will form the zinc sulfate, because zinc is being more reactive than the copper, so it will replace. Now in the second reaction, if the zinc sulfate is being reacted with the copper, we will see no reaction is happening. Why so? Because the copper is the less reactive. It cannot replace the zinc. So this is how the rule is being followed, that the more reactive metal displaces a less reactive metal, but a less reactive metal cannot displace a more reactive metal. Now students, so far we have discussed about the metals and the non-metals. At the last we will learn about some of the important uses of the metals and the non-metals. Basically, due to its properties of the metals are used in making the machinery, automobiles, planes, trains, industrial gadgets, cooking utensils, water boilers, and the etc. In the electricity also be used for making the copper wires, for the jewelry making also, that is the gold jewelry or the silver jewelry. Now some uses of the non-metals, that it is essential for our life, which all living beings inhale during the breathing. Non-metals used in the fertilizers, or it can be used as the agent of an fertilizers to enhance the growth of the plants. Non-metals also used in the water purification process. These are used in the purple colored solution which is applied on the wounds as an antiseptic, and some of the non-metals are used in the crackers also.